Hello and welcome to another story from, you guessed it, Restoration Biker. This is the third story, and if you've been following the stories as I've been telling them, you will know that this story is about the 350 Norton that I bought. I passed my test in unbelievable circumstances, as you know, and I had already bought a 350 Norton that was waiting at home for me to start riding it. So of course when I passed the test, got it all insured and all the taxed and all the the legalities were all sorted out, and then I started riding it. Now bearing in mind that this bike was a 350, I'd been on a 250 two-stroke twin which was probably knackered. This 350 to me had so much power, it was fast. Right, by today's standards it's probably no faster than a 50cc moped, but in those days it was power, mate. That was real power. Anyway, the first thing you do when you get on a new machine, when you're 16, 17 like I was, the first thing you do, no mucking about, you don't ponce about. The first thing you do, you find a nice straight road, you wind the twister it round until it's as far as it'll go, you put your head on the tank and you keep an eye on the speedo to see how high you can get it to go up to. Well, I think that's what you do, because you never guess what, that's what I bloody well did. Yeah, and I used to do that every single day when I rode it, when I first started it. And I then managed as well, because that thing really handled, I managed when you went into a corners, I could hit the footrest on both left and right turns. Cracking, eh? Because I knew how to ride a bike, didn't I? What a complete dick, huh? But anyway, the obvious thing happened. Now, you'll probably be surprised to know this, but by doing that every single day, everywhere I went, the bloody engine seized. Hey? I was coming home one day and it started to slow down, and I stopped, pulled over, because I thought, the engine doesn't feel right, and it was going baduk, gaduk, 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 and it went duk, gaduk. Seized solid. Oh shit, what do I do now? I'm about 7 or 8 miles from home. It's a bloody long walk and the roads were a little bit dodgy. Pushing the motorbike wouldn't have been very nice or safe. Anyway, whilst I'm sat there, side of the road, contemplating what I'm going to do, a car pulls up, an estate car. Bloke jumps out, "You all right, mate? You all right, mate?" I said, I think my bike's just blown up. He went, "Oh, bloody hell." He said, I'll tow you home if you want. Of course, like any normal, ordinary person, I went, "Yeah, okay, yeah, thanks," thinking, oh my good God. So what he did was quite entertaining. He had a big bit of webbing, a bit like a seatbelt, but a really long bit. He put that around the fork legs, so imagine around the fork legs, and then into the back of the car. In the back of the car he had the tailgate open, and his girlfriend was sitting in the back, and she was holding this webbing and sitting on it. So, and he said, if you got any problems, wave and she will drop the tow immediately. She said, if you think you're going to come off, just drop the tow immediate. Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, mate. He said, I won't go fast. He's going up the road. I don't know if you've ever been towed on a motorbike, but mate, as soon as we're going up the road, it's obvious I'm going to fall off. I've got no control over the machine at all. It's being pulled and I can't turn the wheels because the webbing, the tow, is centralising the wheel, so you can't turn the wheel or lean against it because it's being pulled by the car. Oh my God. So straight away, instantly, I thought, no, this ain't going to work. What I need to do is to wave, she will drop the tow. Well, I couldn't take my hands off the handlebars because it was so sort of like, to and fro. I couldn't take my hands off the handlebars. So, in the end, I did manage to get a hand off the handlebar by pure sort of like, grit and determination, and I waved at her to drop the tow. Thank Christ for that. Drop the tow. You'll never guess what she did. Yeah, she looked at me and she went, "Hiya." didn't drop the tow, waved at me. Oh my God, I could see me coming off, the bike being dragged relentlessly up the road and destroyed. I just hung on for grim death. By pure luck, I didn't come off. By the time we got to where we was going, it was mainly a straight road, so it did actually do it quite well. I was really grateful that he did it, because he pulled up at the bottom of my road and it was easy just to walk home. But that was one of the scariest things that I'd ever had done to me. And if you've ever been towed by a car on a motorbike, you'll know exactly what I mean. Anyway, so what I did, I got home, got to rebuild this engine, haven't I? So it seized up. So I stripped the engine down, pistons are seized, so took it all apart. I stripped the engine completely, took it all apart, sent the barrels off, had them rebored, new pistons, whole lot, put it all back together nice and carefully. It was a good way of learning how engines work. Very simple engine, but you know, it was good to learn how to do it. I put it all back together, put it back in the frame, started instantly. It sounded really nice. So anyway, took it out for a test drive. Yeah, right. Oh, mate. Lovely. Got to run it in. Got to be a bit careful. New pistons, new bores, all that. Careful. Don't go stupid. And now, you know, and all of a sudden it went stalled. Seized solid. Hey? Seized solid. I've just rebuilt it. Pushed it back home. Took the engine out of the frame. Stripped the engine down. What had happened is a big end had seized onto the crank. So anyway, I managed to get it all apart, took it out, took the crank out. I took the crank to an engineering company to get them to regrind the journals and to supply new shells and all that. When I went to pick it up, they said, "Oh, you know why this is seized, didn't you, mate?" No, I don't actually. I thought that the original seizure, instead of it just being the bores, I thought it was partially the bottom end as well. But what it was is they said the oil way in the crank, the hole at the end of the crank that goes up the crank and allows the oil to go to the big ends, was blocked. But it was blocked with a bit of hide. Now I had taken the crankshaft out of the engine, and I'd used a hide-faced mallet to hit the end of the crank, because you don't, steel against steel is deadly. So hide, mallet, pump, and the crank had come out, but part of the hide from the mallet had gone into the oil way and blocked it. So when I started out and run it again, initially, the initial run, there was no oil feed. No oil feed to this engine with brand new pistons. Oh my God. Anyway, by pure unbelievable luck, the pistons and bores were usable. They could go again. They hadn't suffered too much damage. The oil problem had been at the bottom end, and it had seized quickly, luckily. So I rebuilt the engine for the second time, this way making sure everything was clear and everything was done properly, and it worked perfectly. And after that 350 Norton rode quite nicely. I had a few incidents on it, you know, but I didn't crash it. I didn't come off it, didn't do anything stupid with it. Rode like a complete dick, because that's what I am a complete dick, like most 17-year-olds were in those days, and perhaps what they are still like today. Yeah, and I rode that. I mean, the only thing I can remember that actually happened with the 350 Norton is it had an aluminium rear mudguard, and one day the mudguard bolts snapped, the mudguard fell onto the wheel, and I ejected it out the back of the bike straight into my mate's face. Luckily, it didn't do too much damage to him or his bike. If it had been a car behind me, it might have been a different story. But yeah, that was great. And then I had that bike for about 8 months, and then one day I went into the local motorbike shop, and right by the door on the left hand side was this red Triumph 500 Daytona. Oh mate, it was gorgeous. It had the American bars, you know, the high bars. I don't think it had the small tank, can't remember now, but it looked really nice. I had a chat with the salesman. Of course, the salesman's willing to sort of like negotiate, and they managed to get me signed into a finance agreement for £21 a month. £21 a month? I'll manage that. Yeah, I can manage that. So I filled it all in. Everything was tickety-boo. Yeah, great, no problems. Then he said, "Oh, is your dad here?" "No, why?" well, we need your dad to just sign the, to co-sign it. Because if he co-signs it, then, everything's fine. Because you're under 18s, you can't sign it yourself as an entity on your own. So I felt a little bit dejected. I then had to shoot home, which I did. Shot home, had a chat with my stepdad, and he said, "You must be joking, mate. I ain't signing that, and there's no way that no, I ain't doing that. So I can't have the bike." So I was really annoyed, moaned my bollocks off at my mum, and my mum must have said to him, "Get down that bloody shop and sign that boy's bike." Because he went down to the shop, he went in, signed, and went home. That left me willing, ready and able to take the bike. 500cc Triumph, Daytona. I've come from a 350 Norton Navigator to a 500 Triumph Twin. And this bike was only about 2 years old. Bloody brilliant, lovely bike. Anyway, I started riding it after a few weeks of riding it around. Of course, you're impressed by the huge power difference between the 350 and the 500. This bike, to me, felt like a rocket. I mean, by today's standards, it's probably really tame. But in those days, mate, that was a bike. And I used to ride everywhere as fast as I could, overtaking on blind bends. And I'm still here. And I'm amazed that I'm still here. Right, are they here now?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'll have to tell the rest of the story in a minute. Bit of a break there because we just had a few people come around, so the lights changed and all that. Anyway, yeah, so I rode that bike like a complete idiot. I mean, mate, I don't know how I survived. Some of the things I did because I've suddenly got a bike that's got, in my opinion, loads of power. So, of course, I'm using it in every single way that a 17, 18-year-old thinks he can. One of the things I can remember about that bike is my mate used to live in Fleet in Hampshire, and we went to Fleet in Hampshire to see a lot of his mates. And we went down to Fleet in Hampshire, and he went, "Oh, see my mate Dave, oh yeah, he's a real sort of character, he's one of the blokes." So went down there on my 500 Triumph, met this bloke, and this bloke had a Triumph Bonneville. Wow, that's a 650. Oh, mate, you can only dream about 650s. Anyway, when we got there, this bloke was on crutches, and he was a scruffy git, and he was walking around on crutches. And he went, "Oh yeah, I had an accident on my bike." He's going down the high street at something ridiculous like 50 mile an hour in the centre of the town, went across a set of lights when they were red, and got hit by somebody coming the other way, and he needed crutches to walk. His legs were quite badly smashed up. His bike was so badly smashed that apparently, he said, they put the bike in the window of the local Triumph dealers as an illustration to other youngsters, don't ride like dicks because you can end up like this. Anyway, this bloke lived in a house on his own. I mean, he's only a young lad, right? And I think his mum and dad had left in the house, had unfortunately passed away. So he went to this house. It was a bungalow. The grass was as high as the windows. We went into the front room, and all there was in the front room was one chair, an armchair, right in the middle of the room, facing the telly. Next to the seat on one side, there was loads of motorbike magazines. On the other side, loads of beer bottles. There was beer bottles everywhere. So that's how he lived.
Yeah.
He was really funny. I mean, some of the things that he told us. Also, whilst I was there, I mean, this is nothing really to do with the Triumph. It's just I remember it because that's when I had the Triumph, and I went there on the Triumph. One of his other mates was a motocross rider, and he had a motocross bike, and we went to see him, and he was sitting on his motocross bike, and he was riding the bike at the same speed that we were walking at, with his feet on the pegs, didn't put his foot on the ground, come to a tree, and he just let the bike go straight up the tree until it was up the tree, and then he pulls the clutch in, then it rolls back down again, and then he just goes around the tree. That to me at that time was incredible skill that you could actually do that. It was really good. It was good to watch. So yeah, that's one of the memories that I've got about that Triumph. Nothing to do with riding it, but about a weekend that I had away in Fleet in Hampshire on it. It was fantastic. And then after that, I didn't have that bike long before I went into the shop that I bought the bike from. And as I walked in there, there's this crate. And this crate was a bike that hadn't yet been built. It was a Triumph. Now, I was into Triumphs, I liked Triumphs, I thought my 500 was the nuts. And this was a new Triumph, they'd only just brought it out. It was a 750 twin. 750! Bigger than the 650 Bonneville. This bike was a TR7. That was its name, it was a TR7 RV. And it was blue. And I said to him, how much is it? And the bloke says 512 quid, which was massive money. And I went, yeah, I'll have that. I'm having that. What? Yeah, I'm having that. I'm going to wait until the new registration. Keep it until the new registration on the 1st of August. And I'll have it. And it'll be M-Reg. M-Reg. First of the M-Regs. And that's exactly what I did. Paid 512 quid for it. Picked it up on Wednesday the 1st of August 1973. And I'll tell you about that bike in the next little story. Hope you enjoyed that. You know, let me know what you think. If you want me to shut up or bugger off or do something else. Or if you've got any stories of yourself of when you was young and the first bikes that you had, let us know, because, mate, we're all the same. We've all had amazing experiences, and it's good fun to get them out and have a laugh about them. Anyway, take care. See you soon. Bye.